They say she's untouchable, that she doesn't need a man, that she's strong, independent, and completely in control. And maybe that's what she wants you to believe. But here's a truth no one dares to say out loud. Even the most confident, composed woman has soft spots she'll never admit. Not to her friends, not to herself, and certainly not to you unless you learn how to see what's beneath the surface. This video isn't about pickup lines, flashy tricks, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding women on a deeper psychological level, where real attraction happens, where emotional armor falls off, where desire isn't negotiated, it's triggered. Because no matter how guarded a woman appears, there are patterns hardwired into her brain, moments that bypass logic and awaken something deeper. And most men, they walk right past them, trying too hard, saying too much, missing everything. But you won't. Because today I'm going to show you the 10 dirty psychological weaknesses that no woman is immune to. They're not obvious, they're not in the movies, and they're definitely not in your average dating advice video. But once you understand these triggers, you won't just catch her attention. You'll keep her obsessed. So don't blink, don't skip. Because the first one, the power of touch, is where most men mess up everything, without even realizing it. Let's dive in. You can say all the right things. You can buy her drinks, text her sweet messages, even compliment her intelligence. But none of it will matter if she doesn't feel something. Because women don't fall for words, they fall for how you make them feel in your presence. And sometimes you don't need to say anything at all. Just one well-placed touch can speak louder than hours of conversation. But let's be clear, this isn't about being grabby or sleazy. This is about understanding how the human body reacts before the mind catches up, especially hers. When you touch someone lightly, intentionally, it triggers a neurochemical cocktail. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, starts flowing. Heart rate shifts. Emotions bypass logic. For women especially, physical touch activates emotional safety, and emotional safety is the gateway to attraction. Even brief non-sexual contact, a hand on the back, a gentle touch on the wrist, can dramatically increase trust and emotional openness in women. Not because of the gesture itself, but because of the subconscious signals it sends. I'm calm, I'm present, I'm in control. Most guys make one of two mistakes. They avoid touch altogether, afraid of being too forward, or they overdo it, using touch like a tool to close the deal. Both kill attraction, because for touch to work, it has to feel natural, unforced, unscripted, rooted in stillness, not desperation. A man who understands this doesn't go around touching women randomly. He waits for the moment, the right moment, and he lets it land. It's not about quantity, it's about timing. There was a man, let's call him Nate. He met a woman at a small local art gallery. Smart, elegant, guarded. The type who's been approached too many times to care. They wandered together through the exhibit, talked about the art, nothing fancy. Then, as they stepped in front of a painting, a moody canvas full of stormy blues and gold, she paused. And he, instead of saying something clever, simply placed his hand gently on the small of her back, leaned in slightly, and whispered, "Feels like this one's watching us." She froze, laughed, and relaxed. Later she told him, "I don't remember the painting, but I remember how I felt standing next to you." She didn't fall for his line. She fell for the energy in his presence, and the touch made it real. Use touch not to take control, but to show calm presence. Place your hand lightly on her lower back as you guide her through a door, not as a move, but as a gesture. Let your fingers brush hers briefly when handing her something, then pull back. If she laughs at something you say, touch her knee for half a second, then keep talking like nothing happened. These are micro moments. They don't escalate tension too quickly. They simply build it slowly, deliberately. What you're doing is associating your physical presence with calm control and emotional safety. Words go through the filter of the mind. Touch bypasses that completely. It's ancient, it's primal, it's unfiltered. Women can talk themselves out of liking a man, but they can't always talk themselves out of how they felt around him. Touch gives her that feeling. Never touch a woman to provoke. Touch her to connect, never to control. If you're not sure if it's the right time, don't wait. Let the energy grow. Because the more intentional you are, the more she'll feel something she can't explain. That's not seduction, that's understanding how she's wired. Now what if I told you there's one weakness even more powerful than touch? A psychological glitch that makes women crave what they can't have, even if they tell themselves they don't want it. We're talking about the forbidden effect. And once you understand how scarcity works inside her brain, everything changes. She says she doesn't care. She says she's not looking for anything serious. She says she's tired of games. But then you pull back, you disappear for a while, and suddenly she's thinking about you again. Why? Because deep down every woman is drawn to one thing she won't admit, the man she can't quite have. This is the forbidden effect. And it's wired into human psychology, especially in how women experience desire. See, when something is too easy to get, we take it for granted. But when something feels just slightly out of reach, we chase it. We crave it. We imagine it means more than it does. And attraction isn't immune to this law. It's why a woman will ignore the guy who's always around, but get obsessed with the one who's a little unpredictable. It's why she suddenly becomes interested the moment another woman notices you. It's why the man who's not always available becomes the man she can't stop thinking about. Because in her mind, scarcity equals value. The man who cancels plans because of his purpose. The one who doesn't answer every message within seconds. The one who doesn't need her attention to feel complete. That's the man she respects. She may not like the feeling at first. It may frustrate her. It may even confuse her. But it pulls her in. Now let me be clear, this isn't about playing games. It's not about being rude, cold, or arrogant. It's about having a life so full, so purpose-driven that she has to earn her space in it. Think about it. Would you rather be the man who drops everything when she calls? Or the man who's so focused she has to wonder what you're up to? Would you rather be the guy begging for her time, or the one she rearranges her schedule for because she knows you won't wait forever? Women are emotional creatures, but they're also competitive. And when they sense they might lose something valuable, they fight harder to keep it. There's a man I know, Michael. Successful but low-key. When he met Emily, she liked him, but he didn't chase. He texted when he had something to say. He called when it mattered. And when he was busy, he stayed busy. At first, she thought he wasn't interested. Then, she started texting more, calling more, asking questions. Why? Because he created a subtle fear of loss. And that fear turned into desire. Scarcity triggers emotional urgency, and emotional urgency keeps people up at night. If she feels like she has you whenever she wants, she won't value your time. But if she feels like your time is rare, she'll fight to be part of it. Here's the truth. The more she's unsure about you, the more space she gives to thinking about you. Uncertainty isn't always a bad thing. When used with respect, it's a magnet. But there's a fine line. Too much distance and she gives up. Too much availability and she gets bored. The key is balance. Show her attention when it's real, but never chase to fill silence. Let her wonder, let her reach out. Because when she does, it's no longer you chasing her. It's her chasing the story her own mind created. And that story is always more powerful than anything you could say. Now, if you thought scarcity was powerful, wait until you understand the emotional roller coaster that keeps women hooked long after logic tells them to walk away. It's not comfort that wins her heart. It's emotional contrast. Let's talk about that next. She says she wants peace. She says she wants someone stable, someone predictable, someone safe. And she means it until she gets it. Then she gets bored. She starts pulling away. She begins wondering, is this all there is? Because here's the truth. Nobody tells you women don't fall in love with stability. They fall in love with contrast. It's not the steady line that captures her heart. It's the waves, the highs and lows, the push and pull, the tension, the release, and the thrill of not knowing what comes next. This is emotional contrast, and it's the secret drug behind every relationship she can't walk away from. Not because it's always good, but because it's never boring. Think of it like this. Why do people get addicted to roller coasters? Not because they're logical, but because they're intense. You're up, you're down, you're spinning, you're thrilled. That's what emotional contrast feels like to her. One minute you challenge her, the next you surprise her with tenderness. You're not erratic, you're dynamic. You're not unstable, you're alive. And she can't look away. Here's what most men do wrong. They try to be the nice guy who's always pleasant, always agreeable, always there. But in doing that, they flatten the emotional curve. There's no spark, no edge, no reason for her to lean in. Now, I'm not saying you should be toxic. That's not contrast, that's chaos. I'm saying let her experience different sides of you. Show her your calm. Then challenge her opinions. Let her feel your warmth. Then give her space to miss it. Tease her. Then go quiet. Make her laugh. Then let silence do the talking. Because it's the shifts that keep her emotionally invested. There's a guy named Jordan. He dated a woman who had been in therapy for years. She dated kind, stable men, but said she never felt it. With Jordan, it was different. Not because he was perfect, but because she never knew what to expect. One night, he cooked her dinner and gave her a foot massage. The next he challenged her on something she said. He wasn't mean, just real. And she told him, "You make me feel more in 1 week than others made me feel in months." Why? Because emotional peaks and valleys burn memories into the brain. She doesn't just remember what you said, she remembers what she felt in your presence. And those feelings, that unpredictability, it becomes addictive. Now let's be responsible. This isn't a license to create drama. It's not about ghosting, love bombing, or confusing her on purpose. It's about staying grounded while allowing emotional depth. Think of it like music. No one plays the same note over and over. It's the rise and fall, the rhythm and silence that makes it beautiful. Same with attraction. Too much comfort kills curiosity. Too much distance kills trust. But when you master contrast, she's not just interested, she's engaged. So here's what you do. Don't always be available, don't always agree, don't always make her the center. Instead, let her feel something real. Let her wonder what version of you she'll get, and trust that whichever one she meets is still authentically you. Because once you understand how emotional contrast works, you're no longer reacting, you're leading. And once you lead her emotionally, she'll follow even when it makes no sense to her. Now that you know how contrast hooks her emotions, let's talk about something even more powerful. The way your voice alone can make her lean in or disappear. That's next. She hears your words. But what really affects her is how you say them, your voice. The tone, the rhythm, the silence between words can do more to trigger her attraction than anything you physically do. Because while men are drawn to visual beauty, women are wired to respond to sound. Not just any sound, a specific kind of voice, slow, grounded, confident, controlled, the kind of voice that doesn't rush to impress, the kind that commands attention without needing to shout. And when a man speaks like that, he speaks directly to a woman's nervous system. She feels it before she understands it. She won't be able to explain why she leans in, why she listens more closely, why her body reacts without her permission. But it happens every time. There's a reason why movie villains and heroes alike speak slowly, deliberately, with pause. It's not just drama, it's dominance, it's composure under pressure. And women feel safest, most intrigued around a man who's composed. See, most guys speak too quickly. Their voices are high-pitched. Their words stumble over one another like they're afraid the silence might kill them. But silence, my friend, is power. A slight pause before you answer a question. It tells her you're thinking, that you're choosing your words, that you're not in a hurry to impress. She feels the tension, the weight, the masculinity, and it draws her in. You don't have to sound like a voice actor. You don't need a baritone. You just need control. Speak less, pause more, drop your tone when you make a point. Lift it slightly when you tease. Think of your voice as an emotional dial. You can turn her curiosity up with rhythm, with silence, with tone. There was a guy named Eli, not tall, not rich, but when he spoke it was like time slowed down. He never raised his voice, never talked over anyone, he just spoke with intention. Women leaned in, men listened, and Eli barely said more than a few sentences an hour. But those sentences landed. That's the kind of presence your voice can create. Now here's something you might not realize. It's not just your tone that matters. It's also when you don't speak. If she asks a question, don't rush to fill the space. Let the silence sit. Because in that silence, she begins to feel something rare, anticipation. And anticipation is the root of attraction. It's not about being cold. It's about being deliberate. Because when you speak like a man who knows who he is, she listens, not just with her ears, but with her entire body. Now imagine combining this voice with something else she can't resist, a sense that other women want you too. Let's talk about that. It's called the jealousy trigger, and it's more powerful than most men realize. She might like you. She might even be into you. But the moment she sees another woman looking at you, that's when she wants you. This is the jealousy trigger. And whether she admits it or not, it rewires the way she feels about you in real time. See, women aren't just drawn to quality. They're drawn to social proof, to the man who's desired, not just by her, but by others. It's not about being flashy. It's not about bragging. It's about sending one powerful subconscious message: I'm in demand. And when she picks up on that, everything changes. You could be sitting quietly at a bar, not saying much. But if another woman walks by and glances at you, she notices. Even if she hides it, her body reacts. Because now you're no longer just you, you're a resource other women want. And suddenly she starts asking questions. Who is he really? What do they see that I haven't seen yet? Why am I feeling this tightness in my chest? It's not just emotion, it's biology. Evolution trained women to seek out high-value men. And how do we spot value? We watch what others chase. There's a reason rock stars and actors don't struggle with attraction. It's not always their looks, it's the crowd around them. It's the perceived demand. And you don't need fame to tap into this. You just need presence. Be social, be warm, be interesting to others, not just her. Let her see you being admired, respected. Not in a show-off way, in a grounded, effortless way. There was a guy, Dominic, quiet, well-dressed, always composed. At a party, he greeted everyone, warmly made women laugh, not flirtatiously, just charismatically. The girl he liked watched from across the room, and for the first time she looked at him with new eyes. She leaned over and whispered to her friend, "Who is he?" Nothing had changed except the perception of demand. Now this doesn't mean you go out trying to make her jealous. That's insecurity. This is about letting her observe your value in the wild. You don't talk about the women who like you. You don't name drop or exaggerate. You simply allow her to see that other women are drawn to your energy. And when she does, she starts asking herself, am I going to lose this to someone else? That fear of loss, it flips the script. You're no longer chasing her. She's now competing for you. That's when her energy changes. That's when her walls drop. That's when she fights to keep what she thought she didn't need. So here's the rule. Don't fake jealousy. Don't provoke it. Just live in a way that draws attention and let her feel the shift. Because the moment she senses that she's not the only one who sees your value, she starts working to become the only one who has it. And now that you understand how jealousy magnifies desire, let's talk about something even more subtle, but just as addictive. It's the sweet spot between too much and not enough. It's what keeps her chasing without even knowing why. It's called tension, and that's what we'll unlock next. She says she wants clarity. She says she wants honesty. She says she wants a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to show it. But the second you give her all of it, she pulls away. Not because she's playing games, not because she's confused, but because you just killed the one thing keeping her emotionally engaged: tension. Tension is the space between knowing and not knowing, between wanting and having, between attraction and fulfillment. And that space, that's where desire lives. Most men rush to close the gap. They confess too soon, text too much, push for commitment before the spark has even had time to grow. They kill the tension, and with it they kill the attraction. Because what she really wants is not certainty. It's the thrill of uncertainty, the feeling that something powerful is growing, but hasn't fully arrived yet. Think about it. What makes a good movie great? The build-up, the anticipation, the part where you lean forward waiting to see what happens next. That's what she wants from you. She doesn't want to skip to the final scene. She wants to feel every moment leading up to it. So how do you create that? By holding back just enough, not to frustrate her, but to let the flame breathe. When she texts you something playful, don't always reply right away. When she asks how you feel, give her an answer that hints without giving it all away. Let her wonder, let her lean in. Because the moment she earns your attention, she values it 10 times more. There was a guy named Leo. He liked a woman, Maya, but instead of overloading her with compliments or planning the next 5 dates, he moved slowly. He was warm but not overeager, flirtatious but not needy. He'd leave little pauses in conversation, end phone calls while things were still fun. Say things like, I enjoy talking to you, but let's save the rest for next time. And that drove her crazy in the best way, because every interaction left her wanting more. And wanting more is what keeps her thinking about you when you're not around. Tension isn't about being distant. It's about being deliberate. It's the space between the notes that makes the music. It's the silence between your words that makes her lean in. Here's the key. Don't rush to relieve the tension. Sit in it. Let it build. Because when she's wondering what's next, she's engaged. She's imagining. She's chasing. And the best part, she won't even know why. She'll just feel it. Now that you understand how tension hooks her attention, let's move into something even deeper. It's not about your words, not your touch, not even your presence. It's about what happens in her imagination when you're gone. It's time to talk about the fantasy effect and how it makes you unforgettable. She's not just thinking about you, she's building a story around you, one you don't even know you're part of. Because for women, attraction doesn't live in facts, it lives in fantasy. And the man who understands this becomes unforgettable. See, men fall for what they see, women fall for what they feel, and most importantly, what they imagine. That's the fantasy effect. It's the space you leave behind when you don't explain everything. The subtle smile she tries to decode. The vague answer that keeps her mind running at night. The emotional mystery that turns into obsession. Most men ruin this. They over-explain. They reveal every detail, answer every text, immediately lay it all out on the table. They think that by being transparent, they're building connection. But what they're actually doing is destroying the mystery. And mystery is magnetic. Because when a woman doesn't fully understand you, her mind fills in the blanks. And her imagination always paints a version of you far more compelling than anything you could say out loud. Think about the men women fantasize about, celebrities, artists, authors, not because they're perfect, but because they leave space for fantasy. You don't need to be rich or famous to do this. You just need to be unpredictable in the right way. Leave part of yourself unspoken. Answer her questions, but not all of them. Let her feel like she's discovering you layer by layer, not downloading your entire personality in one sitting. Because what you don't say stays in her head longer than anything you do. There's a man named Sebastian, calm, smart, mysterious. Every woman who met him said the same thing. I just can't figure him out. He didn't talk much about himself, he let others speak, he asked great questions. And when he shared, it was measured like every word was chosen for effect. Women couldn't stop thinking about him. Not because he was loud, flashy, or overly flirtatious, but because they never fully knew what he was thinking. And that uncertainty, that space between what they saw and what they felt, became irresistible. Here's what you can do. Stop explaining yourself all the time. Don't be cold, but be intentional. Let your actions speak louder than your posts. Be warm, but let her earn access to your inner world. And remember, the less she knows for sure, the more she imagines. And once her imagination is involved, you're not just a man in her life, you're a story in her mind. Now that you've planted that seed of mystery, let's go even deeper. Because there's one trait that silently commands attraction without needing fantasy. A trait most women crave but rarely say out loud. It's not about looks, it's not about money, it's about authority. That's where we're heading next. She says she wants equality. She says she wants partnership. She says she wants someone who listens. And she does. But deep down beneath the words, beneath the polite smiles and progressive ideals, she craves something more primal. A man who leads, not a dictator, not a control freak, but a man who walks into a room and owns his space. Who makes decisions with clarity, who doesn't flinch when challenged. This is the authority effect, and when you embody it, you unlock a part of her that even she doesn't fully understand. Because authority isn't just about power, it's about certainty. The man who asks, "What do you want to do tonight?" feels nice, but forgettable. The man who says, "We're going here, you'll love it," feels irresistible. But because she can relax, she can surrender, not to weakness, but to strength. And that surrender, that's where feminine energy thrives. In a world that constantly demands women to be strong, to lead, to plan, to compete, they crave the rare man who allows them to soften, to follow, to feel safe. There was a man named Carter. He never raised his voice, never argued for attention, but when he spoke, people listened. He didn't need validation, he didn't ask for permission, he just knew who he was. One woman he dated later said, "Being around him made me feel like I could let go. I didn't have to hold everything together. He already was." That's the effect of authority, and it has nothing to do with being aggressive. It's how you carry yourself, how you respond under pressure, how you make decisions without hesitation or apology. You don't say, "Maybe we could." You say, "This is what I'm thinking, let's do it." And if she disagrees, you listen. You adapt, but you don't fold. Because a man who stands for something, even if it's challenged, is far more attractive than one who bends to avoid conflict. Here's what most men get wrong. They think being easygoing makes them likable, and it does. But being likable is not the same as being desirable. Desire is built on tension, on polarity, on the dance between masculine and feminine energy. And when she senses you can hold your frame, even when she pushes, even when she tests, she respects you more. And where respect lives, attraction follows. So don't chase her approval, don't apologize for leading. Don't second-guess every decision to avoid discomfort. Be kind, be fair, but above all, be grounded. Because the moment you begin leading your life with certainty, she'll want to follow not because she has to, but because she chooses to. Now that you understand how authority speaks to her core, let's move into something even deeper. It's not about leading her. It's not even about touching her. It's about what she feels when she's around you, when her emotions start spiraling in directions she can't control, when you become her emotional drug. And that's where we go next. She tells herself she wants peace, a calm relationship, no drama, no chaos, no surprises. But when everything feels too stable, too predictable, too safe, she drifts. Not because she's broken, but because she's wired to feel. And if she's not feeling something, she starts to disconnect. Because women don't fall in love with logic. They fall in love with emotion. The kind of emotion that's unpredictable, uncontrollable, unexplainable. That's why the man who gives her a roller coaster of feelings, laughter, challenge, tension, desire, stays in her heart far longer than the man who simply checks all the boxes. This is what I call the emotional drug. And once she feels it from you, she won't want to let it go. Think about it. Why do some women keep going back to men who drive them crazy? Because even if it doesn't make sense, those men made them feel, and feelings leave fingerprints on the heart. You don't need to be toxic. You don't need to create chaos, but you do need to create energy. Moments that rise, moments that drop, a rhythm that keeps her tuned in. There was a man named Isaac, kind, intelligent, calm, but he had one thing most men didn't range. He could make a woman laugh, challenge her with a single look, pull her in with a whisper, and then walk away, leaving her wondering what just happened. He wasn't playing games, he was just emotionally awake. And women, they felt alive around him. One woman told me, "I don't know what it is about him, I just feel like I'm on fire when he's near me." That's the emotional drug. You become her dopamine hit, her favorite unpredictability, her chaos and calm all in one. But here's the difference between power and poison. You do it from a place of stability, not need. If you chase her for validation, she feels it. If you pull her emotions just to manipulate, she'll eventually see through it. But if you're grounded in who you are and you let her ride the wave of your energy, she'll keep coming back for more. Here's how. Surprise her. Challenge her thoughts. Flirt, then go silent. Make her feel deeply, then give her space to reflect. This isn't about playing hot and cold. It's about being real enough to stir something in her she can't ignore. Because if she's not feeling anything around you, she's already gone. But if her emotions are running wild, even if she pretends otherwise, you're living rent-free in her mind. And when you combine this emotional pull with everything else we've explored, touch, tension, tone, mystery, you become a man she can't predict, can't control, and most importantly, can't forget. Now there's one final trigger, one that taps into the deepest, most ancient part of her feminine nature. It's not about logic, it's not even about emotion, it's about surrender. It's called the submissive trigger, and it's the final piece. She leads meetings, she handles her life, she makes decisions, pays bills, keeps it all together. To the world she's strong, independent, unstoppable. But when she's with the right man, all of that melts away. Because deep down, even the most capable woman wants to feel something she rarely gets the freedom to let go. This is the submissive trigger. And no, it's not about dominance in the way most men think. It's not about control, it's not about power over her. It's about creating safety so complete that she can finally stop carrying everything. She can soften, she can surrender, she can return to her feminine core. Because feminine energy isn't weak. It's fluid, expressive, emotional. But it can only fully bloom when it feels protected by strength. And that strength comes from you. Not from force, not from aggression, but from certainty, direction, emotional groundedness. When you walk with purpose, when your eyes are calm and your frame is unshaken, when your words have weight because they're backed by action. She feels it, and without realizing it, she starts relaxing around you. Her voice softens, her eyes change, her body leans closer, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. There was a woman named Claire. She had her guard up all the time. She dated polite men, respectful men, passive men, but nothing ever moved her. Then she met Daniel. He didn't try to impress her. He didn't rush. He simply lived with clarity. He spoke with certainty. And when she tested him, he didn't bend. She told me for the first time I felt like I could stop leading, I could just be. That's what the submissive trigger does. It frees her. It calls her into softness, into trust, into intimacy. But here's the secret. You can't fake this. If you're insecure, she'll feel it. If you need her approval, she'll sense it. If your confidence is just surface bravado, she'll test you and you'll break. But when your strength is silent, when your confidence is felt more than spoken, she won't understand why she's drawn to you. She just will be. So set boundaries, hold your frame, lead without needing recognition. Speak calmly, move deliberately, know your worth even if no one claps for it. And when you do, she'll surrender not because she's weak, but because you're strong enough to hold her truth. And when that happens, you won't just have her attention. You'll have her trust, her loyalty, her respect, and her desire. Because at her core, what she's looking for isn't a man who tries to be everything. She's looking for a man who's fully himself. And when you become that man, she becomes herself around you in a way no one else ever sees. And that, my friend, is the deepest level of attraction there is. Now that you've learned all 10 psychological triggers, let's wrap this up and talk about what it really means to apply this knowledge in the real world. So now you know. Attraction isn't random. It's not luck. It's not about chasing or proving or trying to be someone you're not. It's about understanding the emotional blueprint that women respond to and then embodying it from a place of strength, calm, and authenticity. touch, scarcity, emotional contrast, voice, jealousy, tension, fantasy, authority, emotion, surrender. These aren't tricks, they're truths. And when you live them, not perform them, you stop chasing women and start attracting them effortlessly. But here's the thing most men forget. You don't do this for her, you do it for you. Because when you become the man who's present, purposeful, and powerful, the man who leads without needing to dominate, the man who speaks without trying to impress, the man who's comfortable in silence and clear in direction, you don't just win in dating, you win in life. And she doesn't fall for the act. She falls for the energy, for how she feels in your presence, for the safety to let go because you're grounded enough to hold both of you. So stay sharp, stay still, stay strong, because the man who truly knows himself is the one she never forgets. Until next time.